Hello everyone! Today we are going to make a diorama of the Mustafar duel, particularly the part before Anakin shows off his great flip and gets his limbs cut off. So these are two of the best Black Series figures this year. Of course they're getting scalped, but they make for some very nice scenes. They pose really well, especially if you got the Comic Con version where you already have your diorama props for the Mustafar duel. So Mustafar, fun planet, lava planet in Star Wars. The other one, I think Sullust actually existed before it, but that's the scene we're trying to make today. So we'll see how close we get. Step 1, we've got to make our lava. So I'm going to be using these neon paints. These are just from Walmart. These are probably some of the more expensive paints, unfortunately, about $4 something each. Okay, the bubbles you can ignore, that was just an idea I had. I had this one type of glue that would kind of make bubbles form as it dried. I was not able to find it in Walmart or Target, and I try to keep a lot of this stuff very basic so that you can just go out and do it on a weekend. I don't want to make this channel something where you have to go online and buy a bunch of special stuff. Now the other important thing in here is just any type of metallic paint. Gold and then orange, especially the orange, but just make sure it has some metallic in it. And we're mixing that in with the neon. I don't want them to completely merge, but I want it to be enough so that it all has a sparkle. There I am trying that bubble idea. I mean, it's bubbling a little bit. Unfortunately, the bubbles turned out to not last, so just ignore that part. But then I also mix in some clear glue in this. This is a clear tacky glue, just because it's made to bond to foam, so I thought it might work a bit better, but I like the glue. It gives it some thickness, it makes it a bit more clear, and it's a bit of a barrier inside of this big messy concoction that I'm making, so it helps some parts to stand out more as thicker strands. Maybe it's some mineral in the lava that's just melting a little slower. Now this is my standard XPS foam. It's about a square foot. You could also just do this on, if you have some poster board. The main thing is this is a very wet mixture, so just don't do anything that it could soak through or you will absolutely wreck whatever is under it. I am trying to glob this on pretty thick. Normally I wouldn't like to do this by the edges of it because it could spill over, but I'm trying to make this all look like one consistent lava flow, and that means consistent height so that it's gonna flatten as it dries, and I don't want it to just look like one spot is just one paint smear and then there's a lava flow. It's also important to make sure that the brush strokes make it match, like it's all flowing in one direction. And then I just put on just a few smaller ones that I wanted less broken up, just some highlights, so I'm doing that with the neon. Now I'm taking this is it's a hobby store called Michael's. Generally, most towns have a Hobby Lobby and a Michael's, but this is one of the few things that I only find at Michael's instead of at Hobby Lobby as well. But if you go into a dedicated hobby store where they have a bunch of different terrain options, you could probably find it there too, just the small black stone. So that's what it looks like when it's done in a couple different lights. Now we're going to put some gloss varnish over it. This is both to give it just a bit more of some height, some depth, also a bit of a glaze to it, and then we're going with gloss because I want to make it shine more. So I think that turned out all right. We've got Anakin and Obi-Wan there. Poor Anakin, he's watching the place he gets dismembered get made. Now this is one of the big decisions I make that makes this video take longer. So normally when I do this, I have XPS foam from Amazon. I have the thicker one just from Lowe's or Home Depot. Normally I would cut that up and I would layer it, and I would use a heated foam cutter to make that it would go so fast. But as a bit of a challenge to myself, I thought, what if someone doesn't just do crafts regularly? Maybe they just don't have XPS lying around, and maybe they don't want to go buy it for $20 just to make a small little scene of Mustafar. So I thought, let's see what I can do with just some basic packing foam. Let's see how dirt cheap we can do this. So I ended up just using the box cutter because I thought, well, if I'm not allowing myself the XPS foam to do that effect, most people might not have a foam cutter on hand either. And it actually worked fairly well. If I made a starting cut, the foam came off pretty much how I wanted it to. Now I'm going to use some scenic cement. It's just like a spray glue. You can get it at hobby stores. I know Hobby Lobby has a version in a bit of a mini bottle. And then we're just going to go ahead and put this right on top of it. This is some special black stone that I've only been able to find at Michael's, but other stores might have something for it. Now, have you ever heard the tragedy of the Mustafar prop that would not fit into my 11 by 11 by 11 cube? Because you're going to hear it. So I really wanted to make the platform that they go on. See, we've got Anakin. He fits it pretty well. I thought I was doing good. Just made it a bit straighter there. There we go. Because I really thought this would add to the scene. He is standing on it before he does the flip, so it's kind of essential. And thankfully, this has some very nice paneling, but it's all pretty angular, so it's easy to copy if we just get the ruler out. This is something that I thought was going really well, but unfortunately, I tried it out in the cube, and it was just far too bulky. So a future video, I'm going to go through more how you could create this, but we're going to do it in the 1/18th vintage collection scale. So look forward to that. It's going to be fun. Alright, so as you can see, it's just too big. It ends up being, Anakin, I have the moderately higher ground, and he just hops over and kills Obi-Wan. It just wouldn't work. So I had to thin it down. So this is the new plan. Obi's going up a bit higher, Anakin's just kind of getting on the corner. So we're going to have to take some of the stuff off, we're going to glue this on again. We're still just using the plain packing foam. Now I've got to paint it black. This is an acrylic Mars black from Walmart. This is something that I probably should have done at the very start before I started putting on that Ashland black stone. But at least it kind of looks like some spots, maybe they're still drying, maybe some lava crept up on them. It wasn't a total ruiner for me, but that's something could have done at the start. Overall though, I did kind of like how it gave it a bit of some variety. So this definitely took a while to go through and just get that, because sometimes the stone would stick to the paint. But again, that's something, you paint it first, you're going to be fine. So we're looking at this, and I liked it. I've got the puck light up there so I can go through a few different shades. Now we're coming back to this poor little pitiful corner of that Mustafar platform. And again, this is the platform that's just, if you didn't get your hands on the Comic-Con one and you don't have $200 last I checked to shell out for it on eBay, then you can do this. There's also some 3D printed options out there. There's a lot, but if you want to go full homemade, you can give this a try. Now, you're going to see me using some special paint here. This is Army Painter that you would normally use for tabletop gaming, but I'm just using it because I have it on hand. If you have some cheap or darker gray, or if you just want to mix in a little bit of black with gray, that'll certainly work as well. This whole platform part, it's a lot more about how well you can get the paneling than it is how well you can get whatever paint you find. Also with this, I did put the X-Acto knife. I didn't cut all the way through, but I did cut a little bit on the panel lines just to give it some depth. Now here's our final display. This, I really like how it turned out. I can get a few different angles on it. They can also have a party. Just a few different options. This is how it would look if I do that vintage collection, which is something that I do want to have so that I can swap it in and out sometimes. But that's how my cube turned out. So hopefully you can have some fun now making your own Mustafar cube, or maybe you'll go bigger than a cube. Either way, I hope this helped. So get out there, have some fun making lava, maybe find a better way to do bubbles than I did. Bye!